What's up guys, Derek, moreplates.com. Today we're going to be talking about the statistics on dating apps. So there was an article that I saw, attraction inequality in the dating economy. And basically it goes into some analysis of kind of like how the, likes or swipes are proportionally between men and women, and what percentage of women are liking guys and what percentage of guys are liking girls, and the tier of the quality of the people in terms of, like attractiveness measurements. So I don't know if you've heard the saying, I talk about it in anything to do with, self-improvement, I guess, in terms of, aesthetic context, in terms of looking better, that the top 10% of men get 90% of the women. And these dating statistics seem to back that up pretty conclusively, and this is not unexpected, and it's just something that I feel like drives home the point even harder. So this one was looking at Hinge. Aviv Gold, I don't even know how to pronounce this, an engineer for the dating site, recently analyzed the share of likes on Hinge that went to the most liked people of each gender. He found that inequality on dating apps is stark, and that it was significantly worse for men. The top 1% of guys got more than 16% of all likes on the app, compared to just over 11% for the top 1% of women. Blah, 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 a bunch of stuff. And basically showing that basically the top guys are getting all the girls and most of the guys are getting no one. And for women, it's pretty much all the women competing for the top guys. But the actual diversification of it is such a small fraction of the men actually being successful, and then a bigger chunk of the women being successful. And this is what we see where we have the top 10% of guys getting 90% of the girls. In here, this is a really old one. I had to get it from, it was like an archive. It was an OkCupid one. This is as far back as 2009. This is the same stuff you see today. The female equivalent of the chart above shows a different bias. As you can see from the gray line, women rate an incredible 80% of guys as worse looking than medium. Very harsh. So OkCupid is not the best site. Last I was on it. It is a haven for some oddballs and some weirdos, but you will find some diamonds in the rough on that site. So I don't recommend writing it off completely. The more diversified you are, the more chances you have to find the diamonds in the rough, especially on that site. But anyways, not that all of the dating apps suck. I'm just saying OkCupid is for some reason disproportionately high with like really strange people. So I'm not going to get too much more into it on that. But Tinder, obviously a more relevant app for most of us. As I stated previously, this is the data for Tinder now. The average female likes 12% of men on Tinder. This doesn't mean though that most men will get liked back by 12% of all women they like on Tinder. This would only be the case if likes were equally distributed. In reality, the bottom 80% of men are fighting over the bottom 22% of women, and the top 78% of women are fighting over the top 20% of men. So we can see this trend in figure 1. The area in blue represents the situations where women are more likely to like the men. The area in pink represents the situations where men are more likely to like women. The curve doesn't go down linearly, but instead drops quickly after the top 20% of men. Comparing the blue area and the pink area, we can see that for a random female to male Tinder interaction, the male is likely to like the female 6.2 times more often than the female likes the male. So what is the conclusion from all that? Is basically that you need to be in the top 10% ideally if you really want to have a good selection, or at minimum 20%. But fortunately, breaking into the top even 10%, I'd say is not the hardest thing in the world. Because the average, what is it, like 50% of the population is like obese now or something. At least that's what it is in the States. I don't know what it is where I'm from, but it's probably not good. So, getting in shape, getting as close to single digit body fat percentage as possible, or like 10 to 12%, wherever you can maintain normal endogenous androgen production and still feel good and, like live with a high quality of life without feeling, significantly deprived all the time. So, maybe for naturals, maybe 12 to 13%. It kind of depends on you personally and how hard you want to push it. But like, as close to 10% as you can get, in my opinion, will not only maximize your facial aesthetics, but your fitness aesthetics. Because at the end of the day, you don't need a whole lot of muscle to be, maxed out for women in the body composition category. Frankly, they'd rather have an athletic looking guy who's 175, 10% body fat over a guy who's 225 at 14, 15% body fat. So get as lean as possible. That's the first thing. And then obviously, if even just as simple things like fixing your wardrobe, that kind of stuff can like instantly push you into, into the top 10%, like getting to single digits or as close to it as you can, fixing your wardrobe, having general good hygiene, you know, taking care of your hair, you know, good skin, that kind of stuff. Anything that is obvious that most people overlook, frankly, are things that are going to push you into the top 20%. And then after that, you start to, you know, deal with a bit more competition. But at the end of the day, it's pretty obvious if you're doing good or not. And like a lot of people, they will, you know, they think their pictures are good. They say, oh, you know, like, I don't know why I'm doing, like, why I'm not getting results. Like, my pictures are so good. At the end of the day, you don't need anyone to give you feedback on your profile. At the end of the day, your feedback is in your app. So if you are getting matches and you're getting dates, that's your feedback. Like, it's literally like a product on a marketplace. If you are putting out a product and nobody's buying it, your product isn't good. Like, at the end of the day, if somebody looks at it and they want it, they're gonna pick it up. So when you put out your profile pictures and you put out your pictures, if they're not good, you don't need to get feedback from other people necessarily, unless you're just clueless how to improve them. But just to know if it's good or not, like, it's pretty obvious. You're either, typically for men, they're either getting a lot of results or like a decent amount to the point where they have at least, you know, they could set up a few dates a week, or they're getting like almost none. There's not really an in-between that I've seen. Like, I guess there is if you're like, you know, like right on the edge of the 20% or something. But, you know, if you're in the top 10%, it's pretty obvious when you're getting results versus the people that, you know, they'll go through their entire city and run into people and they still haven't, you know, gotten a date out of it. So if that's you, you have to redo your profile, get some new pictures, or just go off for a bit and fix yourself up, get in shape, as lean as you physically can, max out your wardrobe, max out the very basic things that you know you should be doing, but you might not be. Watch, you know, YouTube channels on how to, you know, maximize those things if you don't know how to do it, or you just, you know, can't objectively look at yourself and like make the critical evaluation that you need on where you need to improve. Like, these are some of the things that are obvious but are overlooked by 90% of the guys apparently, because at the end of the day, I really don't think it's that hard to crack the top 20%. And if you do that, then you put yourself in a decent enough position to at least have some success. And then from there, you can really, you know, own in on everything and kind of like push the envelope in terms of trying to crack the top 10% and getting as close to the top 1% as you can. And once you get there, you're never going to be alone again. Just put it that way. So take from that what you will. Hopefully that is a reality check for some people, because some people just have no clue. They'll get like no results and then, you know, ask all their friends, like, what do you think of this? And then their friends will like artificially inflate their ego, be like, yeah, that's a sick pic, bro. And it's like, bruh, if you're not getting results, that's your feedback. You got to fix something. So that is my advice. Just look at yourself objectively, and if you're not happy with your results, something needs to change. So take from that what you will. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, check out my blog, moreplates.com. Follow me on Instagram at moreplates_moredates, Facebook, Snapchat, BitChute, Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts. If you want to support the channel, check out anything I'm associated with in the video description below. My TRT clinic, if you are seeking hormone replacement therapy or feel you may benefit from having even just your, you know, general health panel assessed, or see if you have any underlying deficiencies or imbalances that may warrant addressing, I highly recommend you reach out to them. Have the patient care coordinators pull your bloods, go over them with you A to Z. You can talk to our doctor over telemedicine. It's all Skype, Zoom, FaceTime, whatever is comfortable for you. It's all telemedicine, so it's super convenient. And then from there, if your health status warrants medication, then you can save $50 off your first order with the coupon code MPMD50, as well as my nootropic and pre-workout formulas. Nootropic's great for productivity, focus, mental clarity, creativity. Pre-workouts, and honestly, I think the nootropics are the best in the industry, and it's literally the stuff I would, you know, mix like raw powders with in university to try and like max out my information retention and whatnot when I cram for tests. And I highly recommend you give them a shot if you haven't. If you are seeking, you know, pushing the limit on your like you're a very busy individual that needs to be locked in all day for work or school or whatever it is, I compel you to try those. And then pre-workout formulas, obviously self-explanatory. I also compel you to just compare the label of your current pre-workout to ours, and you'll quickly see why I am so confident in plugging it. And the formula speaks for itself, frankly. So just like I said, just pull out your pre, compare it to ours, and you'll quickly see why I plug it so often. So anything else I'm associated with, video description below too. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.